Sloss Furnaces was an iron-producing blast furnace site located in Birmingham, Alabama. The working conditions were brutal, with high temperatures, poor visibility, and long shifts leading to numerous injuries and deaths. One of the most notorious figures to come from the plant was James Worwood. Under his command, 47 men died, and many more were injured just due to the risk that he forced them to take. Wormwood himself fell to his death into a vat of molten iron in 1906, which some workers claimed was not an accident. Visitors and staff have reported hearing the words, "Get back to work," and seeing the ghost of Wormwood, who allegedly pushes people near the iron baths. Portlock is a ghost town on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. While it is currently abandoned, accounts of it being haunted have still emerged, with some stories connecting the abandonment to a local forest spirit known as the Nantiquac, sometimes associated with Bigfoot. However, these accounts have been reported to be fabricated. The Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, Arizona opened back in 1927. The hauntings are attributed to its long and sometimes violent history, including its use as a speakeasy and an opium den during Prohibition. One notable spirit is believed to be a bank robber who died in the hotel's bar. 2 sex workers were also repeatedly murdered and thrown from a third-story window. Guests in room 306, where the women died, have reported feeling a malevolent presence, especially towards men. Another spirit is a phantom bellboy who knocks on doors unannounced on the 2nd floor. In 1886, the Crescent Hotel and Spa in Eureka Springs, Arkansas opened, and it's rumored to host a variety of spirits due to its long history. One ghost is Michael, an Irish stonemason who allegedly fell to his death while building the hotel in the 1800s. In the 1930s, the building served as the experimental cancer hospital of the fraudulent Dr. Norman Baker, who ran a makeshift morgue in the basement. Apparitions from this period include a nurse pushing a gurney and a cancer patient named Theodora. Spawn Ranch was a dilapidated movie set and horse rental ranch in the Santa Susana Mountains of California. It's primarily known as the main headquarters for Charles Manson and the Manson family in 1968 and 1969. While it's not considered traditionally haunted, the history of the Manson family's presence and the subsequent horrific murders they committed have led the location to be associated with a dark energy and unsettling occurrences. Riverdale Road in Thornton, Colorado has a reputation for being one of the state's most haunted roads. Legends surrounding the road include the ghosts of a phantom car that appears and disappears, a spectral hitchhiker, and the apparition of a man said to be a former slave owner who was burned alive in his mansion just off the road. Dudleytown is the site of a former village in Connecticut, which has become a popular subject of local folklore. It's been alleged for years that the area is plagued by a curse brought with the Dudley family from England, which resulted in mysterious vanishings and a high number of residents going insane. However, skeptics suggest that many of the stories of the curse are recent and false accusations, though the area is known for its eerie atmosphere. Fort Delaware is a former Union prison located on Pea Beach Island in the Delaware River. During the Civil War, the fort hosted thousands of Confederate prisoners of war, with approximately 2,500 prisoners dying there, mostly from poor sanitation and disease. The spirits of the former inhabitants are believed to haunt the fort, with visitors and investigators reporting shadowy figures, slamming doors, and unexplainable events. The St. Augustine Lighthouse is an active light station located in St. Augustine, Florida. It's reputed to be haunted by the spirits of people who have died on the property. The most frequently reported apparitions are those of 2 young girls, the daughters of the lighthouse superintendent, who drowned in an accident in 1873 while playing near the construction site. A former lightkeeper is also said to haunt the premises. The Davenport House in Savannah, Georgia is a historic home built in 1820. Its reputation for being haunted is tied to the family who lived there. The most common reports involve the spirit of the founder, Isaiah Davenport, as well as the ghosts of his children and former slaves who are all believed to remain. The Moana Surfrider Hotel in Waikiki, Hawaii is known for the tragic and mysterious death of Jane Stanford, co-founder of Stanford University. In 1905, she died in her hotel room from strychnine poisoning, which was initially ruled as a natural death, but today it's considered an unsolved murder. The Old Idaho Penitentiary was a functional prison from 1872 to 1973. During its 101 years of operation, it witnessed numerous escapes, inmate violence, and executions. The site, which includes a solitary confinement area known as Siberia and a gallows room, is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of former inmates who suffered and died there. Bachelor's Grove is an abandoned cemetery near Chicago, Illinois, widely known for its alleged paranormal activity. The site is associated with many strange phenomena, including sightings of the White Lady or the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove, the appearance and disappearance of phantom houses, and legends that the adjacent pond was used as a dumping ground for bodies by Chicago gangsters like Al Capone in the 20s and 30s. The Randolph County Infirmary, also known as the Randolph County Asylum in Winchester, Indiana, is a historical building whose dark history of housing the poor, sick, and mentally ill has led to its reputation as being a haunted site. Many of the infirmary's former residents are believed to have never left, and their spirits, including those of children and adults, are reported to roam the wards and hallways. The Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, is the site of an infamous unsolved mass murder that occurred on June 10, 1912. Josiah B. Moore, his wife, 4 children, and 2 visiting girls were all murdered in their sleep with an axe by someone who was inside the house. No one was ever convicted for the crime. The brutality of the murders and the unresolved nature of the case are believed to have left a dark energy that continues to haunt the home. The Sally House in Atchison, Kansas is a famous haunted house and a tourist attraction. Legend holds that the ghost of a young girl named Sally haunts the house after she died there during an emergency appendectomy performed by Dr. Charles Finney. The surgery was allegedly performed before the anesthesia took effect, causing her to die in agonizing pain. The spirit is often described as antagonistic towards men. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky, was a former hospital originally built to treat tuberculosis patients in the early 20th century. Due to the highly infectious nature of the disease and the unsuccessful treatments of the era, thousands of patients died in the facility, leading to its reputation as one of the most haunted places in the world. The death tunnel, or body chute as it's known, was allegedly used to secretly transport the deceased away from the main building without frightening the other patients. The Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is a historic antebellum home built in 1796, and it's often reported to be extremely haunted. Though historical records only confirm the murder of one person, William Winter, the house is associated with numerous legends. The most well-known is the ghost of Chloe, an enslaved woman who allegedly murdered the mistress of the house, Sarah Woodruff, and her 2 children by poisoning a cake. Chloe herself was then supposedly hanged, and her ghost is said to haunt the property to this day. The Wood Island Light is a lighthouse on Wood Island in Saco Bay, Maine. The haunting is centered around a tragic event in 1896 when a former resident of the island, a man named Howard P. Cornwell, killed a local man before later being shot and killed on the island by a sheriff's deputy. Cromwell's tormented spirit is believed to haunt the area around the lighthouse. Antietam National Battlefield in Sharpsburg, Maryland, was the site of the Battle of Antietam in 1862, the deadliest single-day battle in American history. The sheer number of casualties, over 22,000 dead, wounded, or missing, has led to widespread reports of the battlefield being haunted. Witnesses report hearing phantom sounds of gunfire, cannon blasts, and shouts, as well as sightings of Civil War-era soldiers. The Joshua Ward House in Salem, Massachusetts, was built in 1784 on land once owned by George Corwin, the High Sheriff of Essex County during the Salem witch trials of 1692. Corwin was responsible for the torture and executions of many accused individuals, including Giles Corey. It's rumored that the ghosts of Corwin's victims haunt the house and the land where their lives were ended tragically. Lake Superior is known for its treacherous waters and numerous shipwrecks, with one of the most famous being the SS Bakenburn, a freighter that disappeared in a snowstorm back in 1902. The wreck was never found, and within a year the vessel gained a reputation as a ghost ship, becoming known as the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes. The vast number of drownings and lost ships, like the Edmund Fitzgerald and the Carol Deering, contribute to the lake's haunting reputation. The Fitzgerald Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota dates back to 1910 and is rumored to be haunted by a ghost named Ben, who is believed to be a former stagehand. Reports include a male apparition being seen and tools being moved. Another alleged spirit is Veronica, a former actress whose singing has been heard in the auditorium late at night. The McRaven House in Vicksburg, Mississippi is considered to be the most haunted house in the city due to its history of violence and death. A prominent ghost is Mary Elizabeth Howard, who died during childbirth in the home during the antebellum era. During the Union Siege of Vicksburg, a skirmish occurred on the grounds, and the house was used as a Confederate field hospital, leading to numerous deaths of soldiers whose spirits are still believed to wander the property. The Hotel President in Kansas City, Missouri is linked to the famous unsolved mystery of Artemus Ogletree, who checked into room 1046 in 1935 under an assumed name. After a 2-day stay marked by odd behavior and interactions with the mysterious Dawn, Ogletree was found severely assaulted in his room, and he later died at the hospital. The case remains unsolved, and his spirit is said to be one of those that haunt the hotel. The Daly Mansion in Hamilton, Montana was the Gilded Age home of copper magnate Marcus Daly. The Grand Estate is known for ghost stories and spectral sightings. Marcus Daly's widow Margaret is said to have been so shattered by her husband's sudden death in 1900 that she never truly left the mansion. Her full-body apparition is seen reportedly roaming the halls. St. Catherine's Hospital in Omaha, Nebraska was a Catholic institution operated by the Sisters of Mercy from 1910 to 1977. While historical information is limited, the history of it being a former medical institution with decades of operations and the overall history of Omaha's hospitals may contribute to a reputation for hauntings of typical old, large institutions where many lives were lost. The Horseshoe Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada was formerly the MGM Grand Hotel. It's believed to be haunted due to a catastrophic fire that took place in 1980, which killed over 80 people. The tragic sudden loss of life in the massive building is the primary source of the alleged hauntings. Guests have reported the smell of smoke, messages appearing on their mirrors, and a non-existent young boy crying out for help in the hallways. Alton Town Hall, built in 1894, is an allegedly haunted site that once housed numerous town officials. The presence of the Other is said to be sensed within its premises, with late-night employees often reporting voices from the corridor, mysterious footsteps, and the sounds of furniture being moved. The Blue Hole in the New Jersey Pine Barrens is a remote, deep pool of water that's been the subject of local lore and urban legends. Native American traditions reportedly viewed the area as a place guarded by evil spirits who would seize those who got too close. While some of the tales are of a legendary nature, the area is associated with strange creatures and the Jersey Devil. Some say that the Blue Hole is a portal to hell itself, and swimming in it means certain death. Skinwalker Canyon is a site with a decades-long history of paranormal and UFO-related activities, including sightings of unidentified flying objects or glowing orbs, mutated cattle, and poltergeist activity. The name is taken from the Skinwalker, a malevolent witch in Navajo legend that is also said to haunt the canyon. Utica State Hospital, formerly the New York State Lunatic Asylum, was a psychiatric hospital that operated from 1843 to 1977. The history of the institution, including reports of controversial and sometimes inhumane treatments for the mentally ill, has led to a reputation that the spirits of former patients now linger in the facility. Brown Mountain is known for the Brown Mountain Lights, reported ghost lights near the mountain in North Carolina. While a 1922 investigation suggested that the lights were trains, car headlights, and bushfires, the legend has persisted and evolved. Later stories claim that the lights belonged to Revolutionary War soldiers or Civil War ghosts. Fort Abraham Lincoln, near Mamdon, North Dakota, is known for its chilling history as a military outpost. The reconstruction of the Custer House in 1989 is said to have awakened the spirits of those who once lived there, leading to strange and eerie encounters reported by interceptors and visitors, including sightings of a mysterious woman in black and disembodied voices. The Ohio State Penitentiary in Mansfield, Ohio, was a former prison that operated from 1834 to 1984. It was the site of numerous executions, riots, and harsh living conditions, leading to many deaths. The traumatic history of the prison, including a massive fire in 1930 that killed hundreds of inmates, is the source of the alleged hauntings by the spirits of former prisoners and guards. Pitcher is a ghost town in a former city in Oklahoma that was once a major center for lead and zinc mining. Decades of unrestricted subsurface excavation dangerously undermined most of Pitcher's buildings, and it left behind giant piles of toxic waste. The town was mandatorily evacuated and officially deincorporated due to the severe environmental and health damage, leaving it as a large toxic ghost town with monuments to the environmental tragedy littering all over it. The final nail in the coffin for Pitcher came in 2008 when an EF4 tornado destroyed most of the town. The Shanghai Tunnels, or the Portland Underground, are a network of underground tunnels in Portland, Oregon. They were linked to the practice of Shanghaiing, where men were kidnapped and forced into labor on ships. The tunnels were also used by prostitution rings and criminal gangs. It's estimated that up to 2,000 people a year were shanghaied, with many beaten, starved, or left for dead in the tunnels. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania was the site of the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, the largest battle of the Civil War and a major turning point in it. The enormous loss of life over the 3-day battle has steeped the entire town and surrounding fields in a ghostly energy. The widespread death and destruction are the reason for numerous reports of ghost sightings and unexplained phenomena across the battlefield and historic buildings. The Breakers in Newport, Rhode Island is a large, opulent Vanderbilt mansion built in 1895. While a historical grand estate, the alleged hauntings are not as historically established as other sites. However, some sources suggest that the spirits of the Vanderbilt family or former staff may linger due to the historical significance and immense amount of energy and wealth associated with the property. The Dock Street Theater in Charleston, South Carolina was built on the site of a former hotel that burned down. It's rumored to be haunted by two primary ghosts. One is the spirit of Junius Brutus Booth, a famous actor and the father of John Wilkes Booth, who stayed the night in the hotel and acted erratically. The other is Nettie Dickerson, a prostitute who was struck by lightning and killed on the third-story roof of the old Planters Hotel building which stood on the site. Badlands National Park in South Dakota is associated with Native American legends and settler stories that point to the land as being a place of spiritual power and unrest. Visitors and locals have reported eerie experiences, including sightings of a Badlands Banshee, a ghostly woman who's said to cry out across the plains, which is believed to either be a warning or a lure. Gilbert Hall is located on the East Tennessee State University campus, and it's rumored to be haunted by the spirit of Sidney Gilbreth, a former president of the university. Gilbert Hall was one of the original buildings on campus, but the ghost that haunts it is said to be a protective spirit, reportedly shutting windows and doors left open when a thunderstorm is approaching, and turning off lights that are left on. He's also said to ride the elevator, a claim proven by security footage of empty elevators opening on off hours of the night. The old Galveston Cemetery, part of the Broadway Cemetery District in Galveston, Texas, was established in 1839 following a yellow fever epidemic. Due to limited space and multiple devastating hurricanes, the cemetery has been raised, meaning some graves are 3 bodies deep. The grounds hold the remains of over 36,000 bodies, including the victims of the infamous 1900 hurricane. The McCoon Mansion in Salt Lake City, Utah, is a large, opulent mansion which was built in 1901. Its former owners, the McCoons, donated it to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Haunting reports include an organ that plays by itself, furniture that moves on its own, and the apparition of a little girl, especially around weddings. A man's apparition in a black cape has also been spotted around Christmas time. Emily's Bridge is officially known as the Goldbrook Bridge in Stowe, Vermont. It's a covered bridge with a popular legend surrounding its name. The story goes that a young woman named Emily was jilted by a lover, and she then died on the side of the bridge, haunting it to this day. Visitors have reported hearing sounds, seeing lights, and experiencing apparitions, though no records confirm a death at the site. Berkeley Plantation in Charles City County, Virginia, has a history intertwined with both the Civil War and the colonial era. The plantation was used by both Union and Confederate forces. It's near the Edgewood Plantation, which is famous for the spirits of Civil War soldiers and the heartbroken fiancée Elizabeth Lizzie Rowland, who waits for her lost soldier. All of this together makes the site a site of Civil War era hauntings. Northern State Mental Hospital, located in Sedro-Woolley, Washington, was a state hospital that operated from 1912 to 1976. Similar to other large historic psychiatric facilities, the hospital's long history of caring for the mentally ill, including reports of harsh conditions and deaths, has led to a reputation that the spirits of former patients linger in the abandoned buildings. The White House is the official residence and workplace of the President of the United States, and it's one of the most famous haunted buildings in the country. The hauntings are attributed to the spirits of former presidents and first ladies who allegedly refused to leave. The ghost of Abraham Lincoln is the most famous, reportedly seen by Eleanor Roosevelt and Winston Churchill. The Weston State Hospital in Weston, West Virginia, operated from 1864 until 1994. Built to house 250 patients, it became severely overcrowded, with more than 2,400 patients at its peak, leading to inhumane living conditions, harsh treatments, and numerous deaths. The traumatic history of patient suffering is the main source of its reputation as an extremely haunted location. The Summerwind House was a large historic mansion located on the shores of West Bay Lake in Wisconsin. It gained a reputation as one of the most haunted places in the state due to a history of suicides, unexplained phenomena, and bizarre occurrences reported by its various owners throughout the 20th century. The hauntings are said to have begun shortly after Robert Lamont purchased the home in 1916. His maids reported bizarre noises and a ghostly figure, and Lamont himself reportedly shot at a ghost he saw in the foyer and in the basement. The family eventually abandoned the home because of this. The house burned down in 1988 under mysterious circumstances. The Plains Hotel in Cheyenne, Wyoming was built in 1911, and it's rumored to be haunted by a number of entities. The most famous story involves a tragic murder-suicide shortly after the hotel opened, when a distraught new wife, Rose, shot her husband at a sex worker in the sex worker's room on the 4th floor, before killing herself in the honeymoon suite on the 2nd floor. All three are said to haunt the halls and their respective rooms.